Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Hold on to your purple and gold, Vikings fans, because the football gods have looked down on Minnesota and said, you know what? You've suffered enough. After one of the most embarrassing quarterback situations in recent NFL memory, the Minnesota Vikings are on the absolute verge of landing one of the most electrifying signal callers in the entire league. Kyler Murray is coming. The deal is not done yet, but every single sign, every single report, every single whisper coming out of the league is pointing to one destination, and that destination has a giant horn-helmeted Viking on the side of the helmet. Buckle up, because day 2 of NFL free agency just got absolutely wild. Let's start with the news that nobody is really talking about because everyone is so hyped about Kyler, and rightfully so, but the Vikings did get some solid housekeeping done on the special teams front. Minnesota is bringing back long snapper Andrew DePaula, which is a quality move when you consider that the Vikings run one of the tightest special teams operations in the entire NFL. Now, the flip side of that coin is a little painful. Punter Ryan Wright, who was a fan favorite and a legitimately good player for this team, walked out the door and signed with the New Orleans Saints. That one stings a little. Wright was part of a beautiful special teams trio alongside kicker Will Reichard and DePaula, and losing him creates a hole that needs to be filled before the season kicks off. But listen, losing your punter in free agency is the kind of problem you are absolutely delighted to have when the alternative is another season of watching your franchise quarterback situation look like a community theater production of a real NFL team. The Vikings have bigger fish to fry, and that fish is approximately 6 feet tall, plays quarterback, and grew up cheering for the purple and gold. Ian Rappaport, one of the most connected and reliable reporters in the entire NFL, dropped the news that the Vikings are planning to meet with Kyler Murray the moment he is officially released by the Arizona Cardinals. That release is expected to happen imminently, and when it does, the football world is going to move very fast. The expectation from everyone paying close attention to this situation is that a deal gets done quickly, possibly within hours of Murray hitting the open market. The Vikings are not messing around. This is not a situation where Minnesota is going to drag its feet, play coy, and let some other franchise swoop in and steal the prize. They want Kyler Murray wants the Vikings, and the players already in that locker room have been vocal about wanting him to join the team. Now, could Kyler take a visit somewhere else before signing? Sure, technically. The New York Jets are still in the quarterback market and have been lurking around this situation like a desperate ex at a wedding. But let's be serious for a second. Kyler Murray going from the Arizona Cardinals to the New York Jets would be the most sideways career move in the history of sideways career moves. The Jets are a circus. The Vikings are a legitimate, well-constructed football team with elite weapons, a top-tier defense, and one of the most creative offensive minds in the league in head coach Kevin O'Connell. Why would you leave one dysfunctional situation to walk into an entirely different dysfunctional situation? You wouldn't. Kyler Murray is smarter than that, and the evidence strongly suggests he is about to become a Viking. The Pittsburgh Steelers are the other team floating around in the quarterback sweepstakes, though most people expect them to eventually bring Aaron Rodgers back into the fold. If that deal with Rodgers falls apart, Pittsburgh becomes a wild card, and they could potentially make a run at Murray. But even in that scenario, the Vikings remain the most attractive destination by a country mile. Minnesota went 9-8 last season with arguably the worst quarterback play in the entire NFL, cycling through a combination of J.J. McCarthy, Max Borghi, and Carson Wentz, none of whom were doing anything to inspire confidence in even the most optimistic fan in the building. Kyler Murray looked at that situation and undoubtedly thought the same thing any quarterback with his talent level would think. If they won 9 games with that at quarterback, imagine what I can do. He is right. He is absolutely 100% correct in that assessment. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, because no conversation about Kyler Murray is complete without addressing his injury history, and we are not going to sugarcoat it. Over the last 5 seasons, Murray has had a genuinely rough time staying on the field. In 2025, he only appeared in 5 of 17 games, dealing with a Lisfranc-type midfoot sprain. In 2023, he was still working his way back from a torn ACL. In 2022, that ACL tear happened in the first place, and he also dealt with a hamstring issue earlier that same season. In 2021, he suffered a grade 2 ankle sprain. On paper, that list looks frightening, and any honest evaluation of Kyler Murray has to include that paragraph. But here is the important context that too many people conveniently skip when they are making the anti-Kyler argument. The ACL tear in 2022 is a traumatic, one-time injury. Every quarterback who tears their ACL misses significant time. That is not a pattern of being injury-prone. That is biology. The Lisfranc situation in 2025 is a legitimate concern, but Lisfranc injuries, while serious, are recoverable, and Murray was apparently dealing with the situation while also being quietly benched in favor of Jacoby Brissett in the second half of the season, which tells you more about how the Cardinals felt about the season being lost than it tells you about Murray's actual health trajectory. Strip away the ACL year and the Lisfranc year, and the injury narrative becomes considerably less terrifying. The other criticism that gets lobbed at Murray with stunning regularity is the idea that he cannot push the ball down the field. Critics love to point out that since 2022, his numbers on deep throws have been mediocre, ranking somewhere around 36th in the league in completion percentage, EPA per attempt, and yards per attempt on those throws. And those numbers are real. Nobody is pretending they are not real. But here is what the critics are leaving out, and this part is crucial. From 2019 through 2021, before the ACL tear, before the Cardinals became the worst organization in professional football, Kyler Murray was one of the best deep ball throwers in the entire league. He was lighting up defenses with shots down the field that left defensive coordinators pulling their hair out. So what changed? The answer is not Kyler Murray the player. The answer is the Arizona Cardinals and the offensive scheme they were running, a scheme built around checkdowns, quick throws, and a fundamental unwillingness to take the kind of high-value shots downfield that create explosive plays and separate good offenses from great ones. When you are being asked to play that style of football on the worst team in the National Football League, your deep ball stats are going to suffer. That is a scheme problem and a roster problem, not a Kyler Murray problem. And speaking of how bad the Cardinals have been, let's put a number on it, because the number is genuinely shocking. Since 2020, the Arizona Cardinals, without Kyler Murray playing at his best, have gone 5-25. 5 wins and 25 losses. That is worse than the New York Jets. That is worse than the New York Giants. That is worse than the Cleveland Browns, a franchise that spent years as the gold standard of NFL futility. Kyler Murray has been the single best thing about that franchise for the better part of half a decade, and the fact that his market value has been suppressed because of their collective failures is one of the great injustices of the current NFL landscape. The Vikings are not just getting a quarterback, they are getting a quarterback who has been playing in quicksand while everyone judged how fast he could run. When Murray was healthy and playing real football in 2024, his last full season of significant action, the numbers were outstanding. He posted the 8th best PFF grade among all quarterbacks when operating from a clean pocket. He threw 21 big-time throws and only 3 turnover-worthy passes. His passer rating was a scorching 106.5. The talent is not diminished, the arm is not gone, the legs are not shot. Kyler Murray is a 27-year-old quarterback with elite physical gifts, a chip on his shoulder the size of the Grand Canyon, and a burning desire to prove every doubter wrong. The Vikings are handing him the keys to a machine that is already loaded. Justin Jefferson at wide receiver, Jordan Addison as his number 2. A defense that can carry this team through the tough stretches, Kevin O'Connell, who is one of the most quarterback-friendly coaches in the entire game. This is the ideal situation for a fresh start, and Minnesota fans should be celebrating like they already won the division, because if this deal gets done, they just might. Now, while the Kyler Murray story is obviously the headline, there is a lot happening elsewhere in free agency that affects the Vikings, and some of it is worth paying attention to. The Miami Dolphins took themselves out of the Murray conversation entirely by signing Malik Willis, which is honestly a fine move for Miami and a great outcome for Minnesota. The Atlanta Falcons, who had been rumored as a possible dark horse for Murray, went ahead and signed Tua Tagovailoa, which is a wild sentence to write considering that just 2 years ago, the Falcons gave Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed and drafted Michael Penix 8th overall. The NFL is a strange, wonderful, and occasionally completely deranged league. The Cardinals, meanwhile, picked up Gardner Minshew and seem perfectly comfortable rolling into next season with Jacoby Brissett and Minshew fighting for the starting job, which tells you everything you need to know about where that organization is headed. On the free agent market beyond quarterbacks, the Vikings are in an interesting spot. They are stacked at edge rusher with Jonathan Greenard, Dallas Turner, and Andrew Van Ginkel, so there is no need to chase Trey Hendrickson, who is the top remaining free agent at that position. They are solid at offensive tackle, so Braden Smith and Rasheed Walker are not on the radar. Wide receiver is where things get a little spicier. The Vikings lost receiver Jalen Naylor to the Las Vegas Raiders, creating a vacancy at the number 3 spot. Tyreek Hill is technically available, and yes, he grew up a Vikings fan just like Kyler Murray, but the combination of off-field concerns and the fact that he is coming off a severe leg injury makes that a pass. Deontay Johnson feels too expensive. Romeo Doubs would be a fun pickup from the Packers, but he will likely get paid more than the Vikings want to spend at that spot. Stephon Diggs, however, is an intriguing name. A reunion with Diggs, who clearly still has football left in him as a separator and a contested catch artist, would be a feel-good story and a legitimate football upgrade as a third receiver. At other positions, safety Kevin Byard, the veteran who spent years terrorizing opposing offenses with the Tennessee Titans before a stint with the Chicago Bears, stands out as a guy who could come in on a reasonable one-year deal and provide veteran leadership and playmaking ability. Linebacker Leo Chenal is another name worth monitoring, though the Vikings already brought back Eric Wilson, which makes that pursuit less likely. And tight end Dallas Goedert, who is coming off an Eagles team with a loaded roster, would have been a dream pickup if the Vikings had not already brought back Josh Oliver. The cupboard is not empty, but the Vikings' most pressing need right now is punter, and they will presumably address that in the coming days. Here is the bottom line, and every Vikings fan reading this needs to hear it clearly. After last offseason, when the team completely fumbled the quarterback question in a way that haunt the front office for years, the football universe has offered Minnesota a redemption arc so good it almost feels scripted. Kyler Murray, a former Heisman Trophy winner and number 1 overall pick who grew up loving this franchise, is available because his old team collapsed entirely around him. He is healthy, motivated, and ready to prove the world wrong. The Vikings have the weapons, the coaching, the defense, and the infrastructure to make him dangerous from day one. Every other team in the quarterback market has been knocked out. Miami, Atlanta, Arizona, they are all handled. The Jets are the Jets. Pittsburgh is waiting on Aaron Rodgers. This moment belongs to Minnesota. This is the Vikings quarterback. Now go get him. If you have made it this far and you are not fired up, check your pulse. This is one of the most exciting moments this franchise has had in years, and we are just getting started. Drop a comment down below and tell us what you think. Are you all in on Kyler Murray, or are you still nervous about the injury history? Do you want to see the Vikings chase a veteran presence like Kevin Byard, or maybe take a swing at Stephon Diggs for that number 3 receiver spot? Sound off, because your voice matters, and this community is the best in the game. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button right now so you do not miss a single update as this Kyler Murray situation develops, because things are moving fast and you do not want to be the last one to know when the deal is officially done. Smash that like button, share this video with every Vikings fan you know, and let us ride this wave together. Skol Vikings.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 2,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button right now.